Mind showing your sense settings in full, please? I got you. Here you go. This is what I play on. Everything, all my dead zones and stuff are like 5 basically. Compilation PC controller only? No, MNK is allowed. Exclamation point H, yes, for more info. Nightmare with the Prime as well. Welcome, welcome. Yeah, I appreciate that, bro. Good looks. How do you feel about competition this year? I'm excited, man. It's gonna be huge. I mean, they already announced the full year's roadmap. $3 million of prize money plus crowdfunding, so it's gonna be absurd, bro. Where do I sign up for a future carry session?
Yeah, I was gonna show settings real quick. The only thing I changed today, this is actually a half a cent slower. Center dead zone 003 now. Max input. This was 15 previously. This is now 0. I'm not necessarily gonna say like this is what if you just want to match me, this is what it is. I'm not saying like this is what I'm gonna stick to though. I might change it, but for right now, I'm feeling good. So 0, 10. This used to also be 15, and then 1.5. I think these have still stayed the same. Center dead zone and axial I think have stayed the same. It's mainly the max input that's changed. And that's it.
5-5. 4-5-5. I don't know. 5-5. Good looks, bro.
Honestly, it's going to be trial and error. That's the only way you can figure out how to pick a sensitivity, through trial and error. You know, for me right now, we're going 5 Excel, 4 sensitivity, horizontal and vertical. Kept the zoom the exact same, and the only dead zones I moved are my move dead zones. The reason being, when your dead zones move, if you put your controller down and your reticle is moving on its own, or your left thumbstick is moving on its own, then you need to have dead zones. Now that is why it is so specific to you, because I cannot tell you what dead zones you need to have, but you can just go in a custom game, see how it's kind of looking, and just slowly bump it up. That's how I got.
Just saw, but we are going right down to our sensitivities, and as you can see, I have my look acceleration still set to 5. I'm still a crazy man. I think if you played any other Halo in your life, the default number they put you on will literally make you feel like you never played a Halo ever in your life. If you were used to playing it since Halo 1, 2, 3, 4, Reach, ODST, 5. Well, 5 I can't really comment too much, but the original ones, right? Like from the beginning. You need to put this on 5 to make any of these, the horizontals or verticals, in my honest opinion, to feel somewhat comfortable and familiar to you as a Halo player. Now, as a new player, I also think you just want to put this on 5. If you played any other game, Apex, Call of Duty, you name it, I feel that the default number they put you on will make you feel like you are playing on one of the slowest sensitivities you've ever played on in any video game in your life. So that is why I put that on 5. Now, moving down to our horizontal and vertical, I have now shifted down to 6 and 6. And I want to discuss the 6 and 6 and how I came to 6 and 6. So how I ended up finding myself on this number was I first started by going down to 5 and 6.5. Horizontal was 5, vertical was 6.5. And something about 5 just didn't feel right. And I started coming down to the conclusion that it had to deal with the dead zones as well. For me, at least, what I was noticing was that each sensitivity, I had to mess around with the dead zones a little bit more for each one to, I guess, complement one another is the word I'm looking for, because that's what it seems you have to do with these dead zones. It seems that you really do have to kind of figure them out to tweak them in order for your controller, your settings to feel the most comfortable that you could obviously feel on Halo Infinite. So I moved down to 6 and 6, and interesting enough, in my stream, one of these just the other day, there was a viewer called Shooter, put him in the VIP slot with all my other VIPs in my stream, because he said something interesting. He said he looked, I think he said the linear theory or something, but he was talking about numbers, and I could understand where he was going because of my analytical brain and how I think. And from what he said the stray speed of a Spartan would be matched at 6.5, and he said the maximum jump height of a Spartan would be 6.0. And now obviously if you have step jump on or off, depending where your Spartan is by an object, you're only going to jump the height of the object that you are near, or if you're not near anything, you'll jump maximum height. But I found that interesting because I was on 6 vertical, and this is what someone in my chat said, so I was like, huh, it's interesting. Like, I wonder if there's any merit to that. So if there is a few people out there who enjoy experimentation and you want to follow along on what he said, since I already have 6 as what he said was the Spartan jump height, horizontal would be set to 6.5. So if you want to experiment with that, let me know how that turns out. Definitely come back in here and drop a comment, but let me know how that goes. Zoom level, don't mess with that. I have that all at default. Here is the interesting part, the move thumbstick. So center dead zone still left at 0. Max input threshold, from the comments of my first video, I told everyone in that video I had this concept, this idea that with these dead zones, or these inputs I should say, because this is an input, not a dead zone, but with these systems right here, center dead zone, max input, and axial dead zone, I felt there was something you could do to create your Spartan to have the most efficient and reach maximum speed immediately. And from the comments that I read on the YouTube video, the comments that keep coming into my Twitch chat, we've come down to the conclusion that it for sure has to be when you put your max input threshold to 15, because then this means that you don't have to reach the end of the rim for your Spartan to realize you are moving right or left, and it will reach that maximum speed a lot quicker. Now, if you remember from my first video, my dead zone was set to 10% here, or 10. I moved it down to 4 because what I found to be a little bit more comfortable than just keeping it at a random number 10 and following what I did in MCC was. Kind of followed what it said, but I basically put mine to the lowest value I could have it at without there being stick drift. So without my Spartan moving on its own, because I wouldn't never want it to think that it's moving left slightly when I want to move it right, and then it has to like overcompensate because left is being held, almost like the game is thinking I'm holding down A and then, you know, trying to go D as well while holding down A. I don't never played keyboard mouse like that, so I don't know if you could just hold A and then hit D and then go the other way, or if you stop moving, because two different inputs and obviously you can't do left and right at the same time. So I've moved mine down to 4, and that is where I have no stick drift. Moving down to the look thumbstick, this has been the same. Center dead zone 0, didn't move it. Max input threshold, didn't move it. I don't want to move this because I want to have the entire space of my right stick to be able to use. I don't want it to be in this invisible cutoff line that I can't tell visually, so I kept this at 0. But now in the dead zone, just like the look dead zone, or the move dead zone I should say, for the move thumbstick with the axial, I moved this to the lowest number I could without it having stick drift. Surprisingly enough, the dead zone that I had in Apex Legends was also 5, and it's pretty crazy to see that this dead zone matched up with that identically, which I think is just absolutely crazy. And there we have it.